Alright, I'm going to do something a little different for the next 2-3 days. I'm going to look at a series of short films known as the Decalogue. This is a series of 10 one-hour films by Polish director Krzysztof Kieslowski. That's probably incorrect, but it sounds close enough for me. And he made these 10 films when, kind of out of the blue, him and another writer just kind of decided, let's make a movie about the 10 Commandments. So they made 10 movies about 10 Commandments. So for the next couple days, I'm going to watch a couple of them each day, just talk about them, how they made me feel, and how they relate to the 10 Commandments. So might as well start with number 1. So I started with Decalogue 1. It's the first one. Felt like the right place to start. Why did I start with Decalogue 1? Cody came home with about 30 seconds left and I was just a sloppy crying mess in my chair watching the screen. Just heart-wrenching, beautiful, beautiful film. I can't recommend it highly enough. It will break your heart, but it's only an hour long, so it's not killing your day. Except it's probably going to kind of kill your day because you're going to be in the mood I'm in right now for the rest of the day. The film follows Pavel, who's a 12-year-old genius child who loves working with his dad and their computers. And his dad is a professor, and both very, very intelligent people. And his aunt is a devout Catholic. And throughout the story, Pavel asks questions about death and about souls and faith and things to both his father and his aunt. So it's kind of showing like that dichotomy between God and science. But the aunt says a very telling line, and I'm not going to quote it word for word because I can't, but it says like, your dad chose science, but that doesn't mean there's no God there. Which is very important because, and this is going to be very spoilery because it has to be, Dad gives Pavel a pair of ice skates that he was going to give him for Christmas. He gives them a little bit early, and Pavel goes ice skating. They check the night before that the ice is going to be thick enough to hold, and they do calculations on their computer, and Dad even goes out and checks the ice and it's strong. But the ice breaks when Pavel's skating on it, and he drowns. And it is... the way the film tells it is absolutely beautiful because they don't show it. You hear sirens in the background and you as the audience know what has happened, but the father is completely oblivious, and it's just heartbreaking the whole time. See it, just watch it. Seriously, pause the video, find this movie, watch it, and then come back. Good. Okay, the first commandment is, thou shalt put no gods before me. I believe the film, the God is, that he's putting before God is his computer and technology and science, because he puts so much trust in these calculations when he shouldn't have. And it feels weird, it feels like I'm saying that God punished him for trusting in computers. But maybe that's kind of the message. Because I know I put a lot of faith in my phone and the internet and everything for everything I do. And then as soon as the internet goes out, I freak out because I need the internet. I need it. But I guess I don't. And I think that's a good lesson to pull from this. I know I'm not making a lot of sense. I literally just stopped watching the movie and just stopped crying. So, I'm going to look at Decalogue 2 right now. Decalogue 2. Now, since watching the first one, I did a little bit of research, and I learned something that I probably should have known by now, and that the 10 Commandments, the 1 through 10, what they are, what each number one is different based on different doctrinal beliefs and regions in which the Bible is studied. So, my 10 Commandments may differ from your 10 Commandments, may differ from Kieslowski's 10 Commandments. Learned that today. Keep that in mind. Decalogue 2, not nearly as sad as Decalogue 1. Thank you. Didn't cry on... Luna didn't cry on this one either. She's meowing over there. This one follows the story of a doctor and a woman, and the woman's husband is one of the doctor's patients, and she wants a prognosis. Is he going to live or die? The reason she wants it is because she's pregnant with another man's baby. So if he lives, she aborts. If he dies, she keeps the baby. That's the dilemma. Where the commandment comes in is, towards the end of it, she's ready to abort. The doctor hasn't given a definite prognosis yet, but she's ready to abort, assuming her husband will live. And the doctor tells her, no, he's dying. Don't abort. So she doesn't, but her husband miraculously survives, and he fights off his illness and comes back. And that really touched me, because I kind of knew the plot going in. Ebert's book spoiled it for me a little bit, but the whole time as the plot is developing, I'm thinking, please don't promise her that he's going to live, and then we end up with 2 deaths on the doctor's hands. Like, don't do that to me. I can't do this 2 films in a row. But he doesn't. He does the opposite. But where the commandment comes in is he swears. He swears that her husband will die. And it's weird because the second commandment, according to Kozlowski, is thou shalt not take the Lord's name in vain. Not according to Kozlowski, according to the Bible, you know what I mean. The second one is thou shalt not take the Lord's name in vain, and that's where he does. But in doing so, he saves a life. And it's really weird for me, growing up in a Christian household I grew up with these Christian values, and I still hold on to them as close as I can today. So it was weird, like, breaking the second commandment and taking the Lord's name in vain and swearing to this thing, but doing it to save a life. And is that okay? And that's kind of the dilemma I'm going through in my head after viewing this film. Yeah, that's what I got. Check it out. What do you think? Comment below. Now, one more to look at today. Moving on to Decalogue 3. This one didn't quite speak to me the same way the first one did, or not even quite the second one. Decalogue 3 follows a man. He's a taxi driver. He's got a family, and his ex-lover comes by, tells him they haven't seen each other in 3 years. She tells him her husband's missing, and she needs his help to go find him. So they spend all night, it's Christmas Eve going into Christmas, they spend all night till 7 in the morning looking, and she's leaving clues around to keep him going, I guess. And at 7 in the morning she reveals, we've been divorced for 3 years, and I haven't seen him, and I'm lonely on Christmas Eve, so I made myself this promise: if I could keep you around, she says this to him, if I could keep you around till 7 in the morning, I won't kill myself. She doesn't say that in those words, but that's what she says. And he says okay, and he drops her off at her car, and then he goes home, and his wife figures it out. She knows, okay, yeah, he was with her, and he promises he's not going to see her again. Pretty straightforward. Parts of it felt weird to me. There's a part where he plays chicken with a tram, and then later on he's checking her husband's razor in her bathroom on her sink. And both times I'm like, are they suicidal? Like, what's going on here? But then it's later revealed, like, oh, he figured it out, but he went along with it anyway. And this one goes with the third commandment, which is keep the Sabbath day holy. And the only real connection I could see is that this all takes place on Christmas, and he decides to keep Christmas holy, and he decides to stay with his family on Christmas Day. But that's like the only real connection. This one's a little bit looser than the other two were. If anything, it falls more into the thou shalt not commit adultery, but we're going to get to that in tomorrow's chunk, I believe. Yeah, I don't really have a lot to say about that one. It was fine. I mean, shot well, acted well, like the other two, but it didn't really hit me as hard as the other two did. But anyway, we're going to look at 4 more of these tomorrow. We're going to look at Decalogues 4, 5, 6, and 7, because numerical order makes sense, right? Yeah, let's go with that. Like, share, subscribe, and I'll see you tomorrow.